Unlike the oil in his engine, Marlborough muscle farmer Rob Pooley in the B-Class Hearts Marine entry was under pressure. Mechanical failure saw him faced with the prospect of being unable to start the afternoon run. A hasty 20-kilometre dash into Anungahur Junction during the break confirmed oil pump problems. The locals rallied, and an hour later the engine was back in the boat with the oil pump bolts secure.
Roll the clock back, dare I say it, 3 decades, and we still find Rob Pooley behind the wheel of a boat.
Yeah, Paul, you're not the first person to mention that on the basis of the short films you've been putting on Facebook. But yeah, what a wonderful recollection of the way we were. I just so enjoyed seeing all of those old faces. And even coming down to Queenstown on the road here, I was talking to Paul Smith, having a chuckle. I think this is probably only the second time in my life that I've seen that footage. So I've spent a lot of time reflecting on it, and one of the things that stunned me was the number of entries.
How have we changed?
The most impressive thing about those days was the number of entrants. They truly were, and they were 30-second interval starts in those days as well. So we had, from memory, I think we had 63 starters at 30-second intervals, and that makes for exciting events on the river, may I say. So in that sense, it was a lot closer racing in terms of physically engaging with each other.
Just swap your hats for a moment, I guess from an organiser's point of view. And I know you're not an organiser, but there's a duty of care that we must have, and when you look at that, what do you think?
That is a very good question. I look at those river levels that year and marvel how on earth and why on earth we kept racing, but we did, and some did pay the price for it, of course, but I think it's just part of the evolution of a sport.
For the experienced, judging the right speed and track to take was the secret, but even some of them came unstuck.
30 years on, we're probably honestly going the top boats at probably 50% faster for starters, but nowadays we've got a much more responsible attitude towards safety, and they monitor river levels, and we have our own standards, our own safety standards, and we will not race on a river if it's above certain prescribed levels.
Are you proud of where river racing has got to?
Oh, very much so, very much so. For reasons known perhaps only to themselves, I was appointed as patron again today, and I've seen so much change over the years, but along with that, a lot of joy and from the results, and seeing the young guys come through and pick it up, and they're so proud of what they achieve. It just takes that one little win or that one finish, and they're hooked.
You've been hooked for a long time. We're coming into a world championship, and we're 30 years on from that footage. What can we expect from silverback racing this time?
Well, I think it's a miracle that I say all three of us, that's my manager, myself, and my navigator, that we've all passed our medical certificates, so that's quite a wondrous event. I truly honestly, what you'd expect is just perhaps a slightly more sensible approach. Try not to use the last 30% of the throttle, and just stay safe and stay out of everybody's way. Don't annoy anyone, just finish.
Too late to relax now. The only reason we've got where we are is by hard charging and really working on it, so that's what we'll do.
30 years ago, you definitely did not use that 30% margin. Is that an age that's bringing on that, increasing that margin of safety?
Oh, I think that's a really stupid question. without doubt it is, but when you're young and dumb, and you know what the rest of the saying is, nothing gets in the road. And I see these young guys out there now with the same amount of energy and enthusiasm, and I just love their footage. I love seeing them at it. Noting that age for age, they're probably going about 30 miles an hour faster than we were in our time.
You talked about the 3 team members that are important, but the main boss, what does she have to say to you?
I have to be honest here and say she had a preference. I'd be playing lawn bowls. I've looked around all of those sports, and ironically the one I like watching the most is curling, and I can promise you I'm not ready to start curling yet. But no, full credit. My biggest fan, my biggest critic, that goes without saying that there's a concern out there that goes with it, so I've got a higher level of accountability probably than most out there to bring it home. And this year, if there's any prize money, it'll be hers.